All right, we are back with the Screen Team. It's all brought to you by Whitworth Gift Chest Jewelers, also Fearless Social and Poplar Bluff Drywall. Thanks for listening to this edition of the show. Jake is done for the evening, and I'm being joined by my beautiful wife, Sabrina J. She's going to take care of the next two films for us. We'll be doing Three Men and a Baby here in just a few minutes. But first, we're doing a Disney film that maybe, possibly, probably you never heard of before. Maybe. Possibly, probably. It's called The Black Cauldron. And this was released during a time where Disney wasn't too Disney-like. It was released in 85. And the
it was before The Little Mermaid. Before all of that came out. Because once Little Mermaid hit, it was a whole new ballgame.
Disney was back once Mermaid was out. But in the mid-80s, early to mid-80s, Disney was not doing so well in the animation department. In fact, after The Black Cauldron was released, there was rumors that the animation department was going to be dissolved and all that kind of stuff. So,
can you imagine?
I can't imagine that. Not at all.
I can't either. That's just not possible.
Yeah.
But you know what? Disney's been known to take the impossible and make it possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have to take a risk. And they've been known to take plenty of risks, and some of them fail, and some of them are before their time, and then some of them are almost a little too late, and the animation changes were just almost a little too late.
Yeah.
But when they did, they changed them, and it has just completely evolved the Disney empire into something unimaginable.
This movie, you're talking about risk. This movie was definitely a huge risk for Disney. This movie was based on two books called The Chronicles of Prydain, which was written by Lloyd Alexander, which I guess is pretty popular over in Europe and over here as well. And it has a very Dark Ages type of feel to it, very medieval.
Knights and swords and magic.
And dragons and
magical creatures.
This movie was actually brought towards the table by Ollie Johnson and Frank Thomas, who are part of the Nine Old Men. These are the guys who did like Snow White and Cinderella and Pinocchio and Dumbo and all that stuff. These guys really wanted to do something special with this film in the early 1970s, and production for this film just took forever and ever and ever, and I guess it changed hands a lot of times, and they finally got it released in 85, and it didn't do very well.
No.
It didn't do very well box office wise, and I don't think it did very well with critics and all that as well.
It didn't do very well with Luke the other night either.
Yeah.
he got to a point where there's the horned king.
The three-horned king, I think.
Yeah, and he's a scary, shadowy.
He's very scary.
It's like, you had said something about when you were a kid, you were like, your mom said, it's just like Grayskull.
Well, when this movie came out, my mom took me to go see it, and that was around the same time as He-Man was popular, and the scary part comes up, and I was like, whoa, and I was a scaredy kid. I was scared of everything, And my mom's like, oh, just calm down. It's like Skeletor on He-Man. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let's get into this, Yeah,
Luke's still a little bit younger than you were at that time, and Luke is skittish at times. It's usually very hard to predict what's going to frighten him. But the three-horned king scenes are pretty impressive as far as being, that paint this picture, and it's very dark and very loud and very sharp edges, kind of stuff. And so he crawled behind the couch practically trying to get away at one point.
He did.
I'm like, get look over here. It's okay. It's just pictures, and trying to downplay it all to him. But, he was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this movie anymore.
And you know what? I felt the same way. This is a movie that I think I've seen maybe 3 or 4 times in my lifetime. And it's a movie that I want to like. I really want to like.
Well, there's a really cute character in it. And he's got some really cute parts. It's not like full scenes or anything, but and he wants his munchins and crunchins, and he's got a cute, adorable voice, and the little pig is just precious.
Yeah.
But I don't think you get enough of the precious side of it.
There's not a lot of characters to root for in this. I mean,
no, not really.
Your hero
is a boy.
I could take him or leave him. I don't even know what his name is.
I don't either. But he takes care of a pig, and that's how he refers himself. I'm just an overglorified pig. keeper, and then you got the pig that sees visions, and it's like Sleeping Beauty in pig version almost, like he's got to hide away in a little cottage where nobody knows where he's at because he's got special powers, and then the Three-Horned King figures out where he's at and does what he ever has to do to find this pig, to find this cauldron that's going to change everything and
give him all the power.
And then you got a pig keeper and a pig and a little creature that wants munchins and crunchins and a couple of other little fairy little things that want to try and stop the whole thing.
And you got a princess and
the princess with a bauble and floating baubles and
you got a guy. What are those guys who sing and minstrels
yes.
and very medieval,
very medieval, and just definitely not for this generation. There's just nothing there for them.
Yeah,
sadly.
This movie has something in common with Snow White. You know what that is?
What?
That it had scenes that were produced and animated, but were cut out.
Yeah.
Usually with cartoons, because it takes so long to draw to hand draw these things out, that they're very precise that if something's going to be in the movie, it's going to be in the movie. But the director of the animation department, Katzenberg, who's very, very famous guy. He's in charge of the DreamWorks animation now. He saw this and he he freaked out. He was like, "This thing is too scary. It's the kids aren't going to like it. Parents aren't going to like it. We need to cut some stuff out." So he told the editors to cut out 10 minutes of the movie.
Wow.
So they bring it back to him and here you go. And he's like, "Was that 10 minutes?" He's like, "No, that was more like 6." And he's like, "No, I want 10."
10 minutes. Go and find more.
He personally took out the rest of what he needed, and people suggest that that's what kind of changed the movie. Might have been better if those 10 to 12 minutes
been taken out.
Were. But still, I don't know
what they were.
I don't know what they were, but you don't see animation films do that a lot, where they take out animated scenes that were already done. So kind of
there's probably not a DVD collection on this where you can see the outtakes?
No, a lot of people are trying to do the underground thing where they're trying to petition Disney to release the, I guess, director's cut of the movie, and Disney, they ain't budging.
They're like, no, it's out for a reason. You're not going to find out why.
And in fact, it took Disney 10 years to release it on home video.
Wow.
Because it had such a negative impact. They were like, oh,
now it's on Netflix.
Yeah. Now they don't care.
Everything's on Netflix.
So it's.
I didn't even know it was Disney, to be honest.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't.
It has a very Don Bluth feel to it, doesn't it? Like Secret of Nim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very dark.
I mean, I love Secret of Nim, though. So.
Secret of Nim and Waterhouse Down, is that the name?
Watership Down.
Watership Down.
Yeah.
Just like the 70s and early 80s.
I wouldn't let Luke watch Watership Down. There's no way. Not yet.
70s and 80s were like a dark. Animation was very, very dark, kind of.
They did not care if there was a movie for the audience under age 10.
Yeah.
They just weren't. They weren't kids who had access to money, so it didn't matter. That's kind of what I get. Because a lot of the early Disney films too weren't designed for kids. They were just another way to see a movie that grown-ups were going to go spend money on to see.
Yeah.
And so, until, in my opinion, the 80s is when the kids got a hold of cash and Disney went, ka-chow.
Yeah, then Little Mermaid came out and changed everything.
Everything. They went merchandise, everything. It was just like, whoa. And now with the world as we know it with, access to knowledge and information and the sharing and social networks and media and stuff like that. Nothing is sacred. Anything can be sold or found.
Just out of curiosity, we both aren't too big fans of this film, but do you think it's worth a watch?
I'm always a person who will say, somebody will like it.
Mm-hmm.
You brought it back up, and I was like, why are we watching that? Why? I guess I just think that...
Just be honest.
You got to be really hurting for some entertainment. Like if you're at an airport and you're stuck there for 4 hours and it's on somewhere or you can pull it up, sure. It'll kill some time that you don't care if you get back or not. But would I go out and buy a copy of it? No, absolutely not.
All right, I agree with you. It's called The Black Cauldron. Coming up after the break, we're going to review a movie that hopefully Sabrina will like a lot better. It's called 3 Men and a Baby. It's next on KWOC.